Hello, cohort. I'm Pam George, and today I want to summarize chapter 1 in this video from the book Learning from a Stranger by David Smith. Let's dive in. Chapter 1, David Smith introduces us to Genesis chapter 20, verse 1 to 18. Abraham had just moved into Gerar, where Abimelech was the king. Abraham was probably feeling like a stranger, and he had requested that his wife Sarah lie and not reveal that she was his wife. Abimelech took Sarah into his household. Imagine his shock when God appeared to Abimelech in a dream and threatened his life, challenging him that he had taken the prophet Abraham's wife into his harem. The author David Smith considers it ironic that Abraham the prophet had to hear from God through a foreign king whom Abraham had judged didn't fear God. The author attributes Abraham's fear and failure to 4 causes: fear, power, knowledge, and perspective. Abraham had felt threatened because his need for safety was threatened. He had just witnessed Sodom and Gomorrah being destroyed, and this trauma had probably led him to believe that there was no fear of God in Gerar. He felt powerless, being a stranger in a foreign country, acted on his past biases and assumptions that the people in the city didn't fear God, which had limited his perspective. Smith concluded that Abraham might have been less tempted to defensive dishonesty if his position had seemed more secure. I agree with this quote because when safety and security needs are not met, the threat becomes real. Maslow explains this in his model, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Maslow says that when a person's physiological and safety needs are not met, their focus will be to meet those basic needs first. In this case, Abraham's safety needs were threatened and he was feeling insecure and unsafe. Abraham made an assumption that there is surely no fear of God in this place and they will kill me because of my wife. I don't believe that is true. In fact, research has said that negative experiences tend to stick to our brain like Velcro, versus our positive experience just slide like Teflon. A theory that explains this is the internal family systems model by Richard C. Schwartz. According to this model, the manager part of our brain attempts to keep us emotionally safe and help cope. In this case, Abraham had just experienced the trauma of a whole city being destroyed because God couldn't even find one person who feared the Lord. So Abraham's manager part of his soul came up with a strategy to keep him safe. The exile is the vulnerable parts of our soul that Abraham tried to push away. Exiles are often stuck in the past where they hold on to painful memories. Feelings include fear and insecurity, which Abraham probably experienced. The firefighters, on the other hand, work to extinguish pain. Rather than trying to prevent pain as managers do, firefighters kick in after the painful event occurs. To extinguish the pain, Abraham's firefighter sought to come up with a plan of self-preservation by protecting him with a half-truth. Well, all is not lost. A quote that gives us hope is found in Genesis. God has promised to bless him, to be his shield, to make his great name great, and has told him not to fear. In page 20, Smith concludes that the divine invitation has been to root his identity and his future in the God who has called him, to live by faith and not by the security or insecurity of his cultural location. The challenge is the same for us. In fact, authors of Boundaries for the Soul provide us with some strategies. Instead of relying on our manager, firefighters, and exiles to protect us, let's lean into the Spirit. Let's choose creativity, curiosity, clarity, compassion, and confidence so that we are not controlled by the events that occur in our life. Thank you.